Hello and welcome back to week number 5. So in session 4, you were supposed to ask somebody 3 reasons why they love you, and hopefully that was a helpful experiment emotionally, and that you can see that there's people there cheering for you, there's people there that's on your side and care about you and want to see you recover from this. Also, hopefully you're doing good starting to target those negative thoughts and catching them, creating the better but believable thoughts. Probably lots of practice you had with all the different high expectations you had last time, and also if there was somebody you needed to ask for forgiveness because of your expectations you were piling on them. Hopefully that was productive as well. So in session 5, we're going to look at diet and exercise, and it's unbelievable like how important this area is in anxiety and depression, and it's one of the easiest things to change. Just buying the right foods, getting up off of the couch, and following some of the things that we're going to talk about. But our skill, just to make it super simple, is on exercise. So we'll take it over to the other video, and I will see you back here in just a minute.
Hello, and welcome back. So hopefully you're kind of evaluating your expectations and not doing the shooting all over yourself, and just having a healthy balance of what's really important in life. And so this week we will be talking about diet and exercise, and really the skill is just to begin the exercise. And right now people spend $30 billion a year on different vitamins and supplements. And if you could take all the benefits of exercise and put it in a pill, I'd be a multi-billionaire, because it would by far outweigh any supplement, any vitamin that you could possibly take. I'm not even going to go through the list of benefits for that. And here's the thing, I don't want you to become a marathon runner tomorrow, right? So we're going to start somewhere. And if that means getting up and walking around the block once a day for this week, because you haven't done that in years, go for it. If you're used to exercising, maybe you're a personal trainer, you exercise every day, and this is a skill you've already got, and maybe you don't find much benefit from it. And every skill, again, every person is unique. Anxiety and depression stems from different places. So some of these skills you're going to say, this works great for me, I love it, I'm going to use it the rest of my life. And others you're going to say, this has not helped me at all. But for this one, there's so many benefits to it. I'd be hard pressed to find somebody who says, exercise doesn't do anything for me. But here's what I will say. When your anxiety is high and you exercise, you're probably going to feel 10 times worse. Like, the last thing you want to do when depression's hitting heavy, anxiety's hitting heavy, is to go out on a bike ride or go out on a little jog, whatever it may be. And chances are, you'll feel absolutely horrible. But usually about 1 hour after you're done exercising, you're going to start to see a huge improvement. And you're going to look back at, let's say you exercise from 3 to 3:30, and you felt horrible all day. At 3 o'clock, you exercise 3 to 3:30. You felt 10 times worse because you were exercising. And then about 4:30, you're going to say, okay, now I feel about what I did before. And by 5:30, you're going to say, I feel 5-10 times better than I did back at 2 o'clock. All right. So all I want you to do is try this. 5 days this week, 20 minutes, get that heart rate up. And like I said, the benefits of it is going to far outweigh anything that you could ever purchase, any medication that you take. And just go for it, and can't wait to hear how it goes.
So again, exercise is just going to be a huge part in helping you feel better and overcome a lot of these symptoms and things that you're dealing with. So let's jump into the book and talk a little bit more about that. So diet is also part of that. So number 1 in your notebook is what you eat can directly affect your symptoms of anxiety and depression. Just a few basics. So salt can cause you to retain fluid, and that increases nervous tensions, feelings of anxiety. Sugar depletes important vitamin B, causing feelings of anxiety. So salt and sugar are two pretty big culprits in how you feel. Studies show one candy bar can cause some people to go into a panic attack. Again, it brings on those panicky feelings, and then back in session 2, if you panic about those panicky feelings, it'll turn into a full-blown attack. Smoking and drinking can feed symptoms of anxiety and depression. So, more and more always comes out on the negative effects of smoking. So hopefully, as part of this 15-session program, if you are a smoker, set a goal. Like, you just don't need the smoking anymore. You're gonna have the skills that you need to help manage the emotions and the feelings, and you don't need those negative health benefits of the smoking. And same thing with the alcohol. So, alcohol is a depressant, and, even though it may give you the quick stimulant right away, it in the long run is just going to feed into your anxiety and depression as well. And caffeine, that'll trigger anxiety symptoms. So I remember in one group, we had somebody in our area. We have Sheets, which is kind of like a gas station convenience store, and I used to have what was called the Big Gulp. So I want to say it was maybe 128 ounces. I don't know. It was a huge jug. It looked like it was about a gallon. And the one guy would always come to group, and he had a big gulp with him every day. And, basically shared every morning he goes to Sheets, and, the Big Gulp, once you buy one, it was cheap to refill. And he filled it up with Mountain Dew every single day and drank a whole half gallon or whatever this huge container was every single day. And for him, like, he just slowly, you don't want to, actually, he did something a little different. Like, I encouraged him, like, just slowly, start doing 3/4 of a big gulp, then start doing half of a big gulp, then 1/4 of a big gulp. But he was like, what, if this is going to help, I just want to stop. And I said, it was like, you're going to hit a wall, and, you're definitely going to feel bad for a while, but eventually, and probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks when he quit, like, he was not feeling good. He said, I'm getting headaches, I'm getting more symptoms, but I know you all are encouraging me. This is normal. I'm going to get through it. And really, like, probably around when week 4 rolled around, like, he was doing tremendous, and that caffeine intake was definitely, like, feeding into his anxiety, into his symptoms and feelings. And when he cut that out, that was huge. So that caffeine increases the nervousness, irritability. So if you're a 3 cup of coffee morning drinker, again, just try to cut down a little bit. You don't have to just completely cut everything out, but a lot of this is figuring out where exactly is your anxiety or depression stemming from, and playing around with some of those players that it could possibly be from, and see if it's making you feel a little better. And again, when you're breaking habits, sometimes you feel a little worse at the beginning, until you develop a new habit, a healthier habit, and then you end up feeling so much better. So I will say, like, in my recovery, this was huge. So I remember, like, sugar was the big thing for me. I had an aunt that worked in a bakery, and my mom would go and get me these little pretzel donuts, the glazed donuts shaped like a pretzel. And we would have my aunt put the donut icing on top of the glazed pretzel donut as well. And I would eat 2 of those every morning for breakfast. And I was a huge Kool-Aid drinker. So I was drinking Kool-Aid pretty much all day long. And my sugar intake was just off the charts. And when I started to cut back on how much sugar I was taking in, and really got to the point where, like, I had sugar, but not really any sweets. So I wasn't eating cookies, cake, those sort of things. Like, that was probably 70% of part of my recovery, and being able to just cut down on those things. And because that sugar just kept feeding in to my anxiety symptoms. And when I cut that down and cut that out, it made such a tremendous difference. So if you look in the middle, there's a simple guide to vitamins and the foods that contain them. All right. So here's the thing. Like, let's say you're feeling nervous. You can see that first one, vitamin B6, which is in fish and turkey, can help with nervousness. Now here's the thing. If you go out and you just start eating fish and nothing else but fish, like, it's not going to take all your nervousness away. So all these things that are kind of in the middle, they show like they can have a little bit of a benefit. And so, if you have the fatigue, if you have muscle cramps, grouchiness, insomnia, those sort of things, like you can look at the foods that may help that. But, nobody's ever come in and said like, I'm eating nothing but almonds now for magnesium, so my depression has been completely gone. Right? But they may say, hey, I started eating almonds as a snack and it seems to be helping me a little bit. So again, it's just a guide to some foods and things that may be able to help you feel a little bit better in some of those areas. But you can see, the most important statement there in the notebook for this session with the diet says, eating a healthy diet with low sugar, limited caffeine, rich in vitamins and minerals will always trump supplements and help you with your anxiety and depression. Right? So you can do the multivitamins, you can do, extra vitamin C, you can do, whatever it is you take. But I can guarantee you that if you just eat healthy foods and you're eating the fruits and the vegetables and staying away from a lot of the sweets, like that's going to do so much more for your anxiety, your depression, and your overall health than any supplement could ever do. All right. So number 2 is exercise. Again, that was what the skill was, and you saw a lot of this already in the video. But exercise can manage your anxiety and depression. Again, in the middle of it, it may be the last thing you want to do while you're doing it. You may feel horrible, but again, about an hour afterwards, you'll start to feel the benefit and be so thankful that you did. They have tremendous long-term benefits. Again, supplements is 30 billion plus a year industry. And I guarantee if I could put in a bottle all the benefits of exercise and sell it as a pill, like everybody would want it and buy it, yet you don't need to buy it because it's free. And so the benefits is it's shown, studies showed it makes you happier, less stressed, stronger, healthier, reduces your chance of disease, gives you good brain health, better sleep, and more focus. All right. And part of it, you just have to schedule it. And, honestly, because you're going to be feeling less sluggish, because you're going to be feeling better, doing exercise 20 minutes a day is probably going to make you more productive the entire day. So you're really not losing 20 minutes. Probably by spending that 20 minutes, you're going to gain an hour or two just because you have more energy, you can get more done, and those sort of things. So the big thing, doing at least 3 to 4 days, 5 would be ideal, 20 to 30 minutes, and you want to work yourself up. So if you've been sitting on the couch for the last 3 years, it may start with just walking around the block or walking around your house, those sort of things. But you want to get up to the point where you can do 20 to 30 minutes of moderate exercise, so swimming, a brisk walk around the neighborhood, just I'm into ball sports, so I love going with my son, to play tennis. We throw the football around, we throw the baseball around, play basketball. We have a basketball hoop outside, so it kind of makes exercise, at least for me, fun. And the other thing I definitely suggest is to start making it a lifestyle. So when you go to the store, don't park at the closest spot to the door. I know at the college, in my office, I have a bathroom that's pretty much right across the hall. When I need to use the restroom, I go upstairs. I go down the entire other end of the building, just because it gets me up and moving. And that's the other thing with exercise. Studies have shown like it's better to like move around during the day, throughout the day, than it is like sitting 8 hours a day and then going to the gym for an hour and then going home and sitting on the couch. So it's almost like that hour is great, but you also need to be moving and getting your blood flowing and all those sort of things throughout the day as well. So hopefully the exercise makes sense to you. Number 3 is sleep. I know this tends to be a huge issue for people with anxiety and depression, but number 3, sleep can help you manage. So some suggestions: you want to get on a routine. So trying to stick to a certain bedtime, waking up in a certain morning. Weekends come, don't sleep in an extra 3 hours and go to bed 3 hours late. Just try and get on a routine. So the REM sleep, that is kind of like the deep sleep that everybody wants. So that tends to happen 2 to 3 hours into your sleep. So it's not good to nap throughout the day and then at night sleep for an hour, wake up, sleep for an hour, because you lose out on all that healthy deep sleep. So moving towards cutting out the napping and just sticking to that bedtime, going to the bed same time and waking up the same time. Use calming skills before bed. So don't watch the news, don't check your social media, that kind of stuff. Just meditate, pray, talk to your spouse. One of the things that you want to get in a habit of doing is seeing, your bed is mainly for sleep. So when the lights go out, your head hits the pillow, like that, your body knows, okay, now it's time to sleep. So don't get anxious about not sleeping. Rest is beneficial, but they say if you're up for more than 30 minutes, it's better to get up and go do your normal routine. So, go into another room, go into some dim lighting, read a book, go rebrush your teeth, go get a little drink of water, and do everything that you normally do before you go to sleep. And when you feel drowsy, go head back to bed, and definitely limit your screen time. So just the lights from our phones and those sort of things can have an impact on us. So you can see it impacts our heart, our mind, our weight, emotional balance, energy. It reduces disease, increased memory and focus. So sleep is another huge part in helping us to feel better and overcome some of these things. Now, again, what we're doing is called cognitive behavioral therapy. And there is like a field in this. It's called CBTI. So it's called cognitive behavioral therapy, and the I stands for insomnia. So there's certain skills you can do out there to help you sleep. I believe there's an app that's called CBTI Coach that can kind of walk you through this. And because your brain's already starting to think in these better but believable thoughts and new patterns, you're at a point where that could be effective and helpful for you. CBTI is for people already engaged in CBT, which now you are. And so I'm going to show you a real short video that kind of talks about what that is, and it gives some great suggestions, and maybe some of you will find this helpful.
Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI, focuses on changing both behaviors and thoughts. CBTI is a longer-lasting solution than medications, and studies show it helps most people who try it, even people who have had insomnia for years. Usually a sleep specialist or psychologist will guide you through this over a few weeks. So while I'll go over a few key strategies here, your doctor can refer you to someone who can help you with this in person. Okay, the first thing many sleep specialists will ask you to do is keep a sleep journal for at least 2 weeks. And there are many different types of these journals, but they usually track things like when you went to bed, what time you woke up in the morning, when you think you were asleep during the night, how many total hours you spent in bed, and how you felt in the daytime. You can just use paper and pen to do this. In fact, there's a printable sleep journal you can find at the end of this program. Or you can use wearable sleep technology, like those wristbands that track how much you sleep. Just know they're not always 100% accurate. All right, one of the main goals of CBTI is to make a strong connection between your bed and sleep. What do I mean by that? Well, when you lie in bed sleepless night after night, you begin to link your bed with being awake, when really your bed should be a cue for sleep. Now, a cue is something that not only reminds you, but practically pushes you into doing something. Think about walking into a movie theater and how the smell of popcorn makes you want to buy it. To turn your bed into a cue for sleep, use your bedroom only for sleep and sex. So that means no laptops, phones, to-do lists, or TVs. Just take anything and everything not related to sleep outside your bedroom. If you usually lie there awake because you're making mental to-do lists or worrying, set aside 15 minutes earlier in the day to write down what's on your mind. You don't have to do anything about it, but by getting it down on paper, it's like you're giving yourself permission to power down and sleep later. On that note, I also want to bring up negative sleep thoughts. You know the ones. I'm never going to fall asleep, or there's no way I'm going to be able to function tomorrow. Having these thoughts spin around your head when you're trying to sleep only makes the problem worse. But a sleep specialist or therapist can help you deal with those. And you'll learn that many of these thoughts aren't even true. For example, most people find a night of bad sleep is not as disastrous as they tell themselves it'll be. Okay, another big goal of CBTI is to spend less time in bed. I know your instinct might tell you the opposite, but cutting down your time in bed will actually help you get a more solid block of sleep at night. So you'll spend less time in bed, not less time asleep. To help with that, here's an idea. If you've been lying awake for more than 30 minutes, get up and go to another room. And don't worry about it being exactly 30 minutes. Just get up if it feels like it's been a while. Then do something relaxing in very dim light until you're sleepy again. Another rule of thumb is to wake up at the same time every day. And yep, that even means weekends. I know catching up on sleep might seem like a good idea, but for people with insomnia, it really throws your schedule off. And another tip is, don't go to bed until you're sleepy. Not just tired, but sleepy. When your eyes are droopy and you feel like you could actually fall asleep. That might mean staying up a little later than you used to, but it'll actually give you deeper sleep. Along the same lines, it's best to avoid napping if you can, especially in the late afternoon or evening. That's because you want your sleep drive, the rubber band, to get nice and stretched out. Now, when you follow these healthy sleep behaviors, you might actually feel pretty tired for a few weeks. Try to think of that as a sign it's working. In time, you should have a regular sleep schedule, be sleeping more deeply, and wake up less often. All right, let's talk about sleep medications, which are sometimes used while people build new.
So hopefully you picked up a tip or two there if you struggle with insomnia and sleeping. And again, trying to get on that routine can definitely help you with your anxiety or depression. So number 4, usually the older people in groups or that I work with, people over the age of 50, like, have no problem with this one. The younger ones, especially the 15 to 30-year-olds, give a lot of pushback. But number 4 is using technology to make an impact on your anxiety and depression. So since the 2010, when Facebook became popular, those sort of things, like the amount of anxiety, depression, suicides, like as the use of social media went up, so did all the mental health issues. Now I don't think that social media is the only thing that's played into that there's other factors as well. But there's definitely a correlation. And so you can see studies already prove that social media impacts our happiness, our self-esteem, feelings of loneliness and empathy. Even just staring at our phone screens can impact our focus, memory, and feelings. And I believe social media and electronic video games, those sort of thing, addictions are real. That people, if they don't use them, can really feel like almost like a withdrawal, and their brain doesn't function the way it should, and they get a lot of those withdrawal feelings. And so what I will say, again, a lot of these things you're just trying out, and I want you to try and say, I'm going to cut down on staring at my phone all day. I'm going to cut down, how much time I spend on my social media, and just see how it makes you feel. And when people do that, I've had many stories of people who said it made them feel so much better to limit some of these areas. All right, so for your homework this week, you're going to choose a 3 to 5 day period. Let's just go with 5. I want you to jump all in here. Don't put your toe in the swimming pool, trying the waters out. Like, let's jump in all out. And so I want you to pick a 5-day period between now and the next time before you do session 6, and just focus on eating healthy, nutritious food. So cut out the sweets, cut down on the coffee, instead of drinking soda, drink water, those sort of things. Schedule to exercise 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes on day 1, 3, and 5. And again, for some of you, that may be going to the gym because you're in shape and you're used to this. Some of you, it may be getting up off the couch and walking around your house or around the block. Go to bed and get up at the same time all 5 days. So set a bedtime, set your alarm to wake up at a certain time, do a social media fast for at least 3 of those days, and just set your phone aside and, enjoy the extra time you have with your family, connecting with an old friend, and just enjoying nature, whatever it may be. Keep targeting those negative thoughts. And then there's some space in there for you to put in your notebook, things that you notice. Hey, you know what, when I only drank 1 cup of coffee rather than 2, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. Or, by day 3, when I was going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time, like my sleep was actually better. So just make some notes of where this is helping you, and especially how it's impacting your anxiety and depression. And again, keep going after those negative thoughts, start those exercises, these skills that you're learning, keep using them, and you're going to get to whatever goal that you set. And just can't wait to hear the story of how much benefit and how you were able to overcome and recovery from all these symptoms that you've been facing. So see you next time.